Hey, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to Obas Trending Gist, where we break down the political moment that everyone is talking about. Now, let me ask you this question: what happens when a top politician from one major party starts praising his rival from another? In the heat of Nigerian politics, that's almost unheard of, right? Well, it just happened. The Labour Party's Peter Obi recently made a proposal vowing to only serve a single 4-year term if he were to be a president. And in response, a chieftain from the opposition PDP, Dan Ulasi, went on Arise TV, or rather Arise News, but instead of tearing the idea apart, he gave one of the most surprising analyses I have seen in a while. So let's not waste any more time. Let's take a watch and then we'll break it all down.
I will say good morning again for having me. You know, in this country we have what we call free speech enshrined in our constitution. You know, you have the capacity to say what you like and how you like it, for as long as you don't abuse or blackmail anybody to a point that might necessitate his going to court to challenge what you have said. But I have to start by saying that, democracy depends on, several doses of civility. And the underlying word is civility, which most people, even in politics, do not understand. And because they don't, they exhibit some form of a reflective instinct towards self-preservation. And this reflective instinct that gives them rise to self-preservation makes them be stoking paranoia, and it's a very dangerous thing to happen. So you see people who take oath for unsurpassed devotion to duty, when indeed what they mean is to have taken oath for unsurpassed devotion to stealing money. And that's why the country has not moved. So coming back to your question, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, most people, the elite, the so-called educated, tend to forget that the Constitution says 4-year term. The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria gives you a 4-year term. So that Constitution presumes that in 4 years, you should be able to make an impression, an impactful impression on your society. It's only when you do very, very well and you desire for a second term that you ask for a second term, which they may or may not give you. Because there are many places in this country where people zone offices just for 4 years. You do and somebody else goes. It doesn't mean that you must finish what you started, but if you have a project that is good and somebody else comes in, he will finish it. And I give you an example. If you come into Enugu now, we have one of the best governors in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Most of the projects abandoned over the past 16, 20 years. Coming to Enugu is like you're entering London. Beautiful. You can see how the governor is, rehabilitating and finishing all the projects. So, in effect, Peter saying that he will do 4 years, I think it is sacrosanct. It's, by all standards in Nigerian politics, is a very honest person, a good Christian. He doesn't talk from both sides of his mouth. So I believe him that he will do in 4 years. Anybody, if you discuss, I would like people to have him on television on this Arise platform. And if you listen to him, you will see and believe that he will do everything he wants to do, maybe not 100%, in 4 years. That's what the Constitution presupposes. That if they felt that you can't do most things you have pledged to do in 4 years, they would have said giving it 5 or 6 years. So Peter hasn't said anything out of point. It's his belief that in 1 year you should be able to do proper analysis, even before you come into office. Do a proper analysis for what your vision is and how to implement that vision. The only thing that people have a vision of stealing money, and all the time they are thinking of how to steal that money, and not anything that will be impactful to the common people.
Wow. Let us unpack that because there is a lot to break down. This wasn't just your typical political takedown. This was something else entirely. First, let's get into the analysis of what he actually said. He starts by framing the whole conversation around free speech and civility. He's basically saying, before I say what I'm about to say, remember that in a democracy, we should be able to have these conversations. Then he delivers his first major punch. He diagnoses the problem with Nigerians politicians not as a lack of ideas, but as a reflective instinct towards self-preservation. He argues this instinct leads them to paranoia, and most critically, to corruption. The line that stood out to me was when he said, people take an oath for unsurpassed devotion to stealing money. That's a heavy, heavy accusation. And he's not just aiming it at any one party or anybody. He's describing a systematic issue. Now, on the major topic, Obi's one-term proposal, Olasi's point is brilliant in its simplicity. He says the Nigerian constitution already gives a 4-year term. A second term isn't a right. It is something you have to earn by performing well. So for him, Obi promising to do the job in 4 years is simply aligning with the spirit of the constitution. He's saying 4 years is enough to make a massive impact if you are serious. And then the biggest surprise of all, he starts praising Peter Obi directly. This is a PDP chieftain, mind you. He calls Obi sacrosanct, an honest person, a good Christian, and someone who doesn't talk with both sides of his mouth. In the world of Nigerian politics, that is the highest form of endorsement you can get from a supposed rival. He essentially vouches for Obi's character on national TV. He finishes by saying he believes Obi will get the job done in 4 years because anyone who needs 8 years is likely just planning how to loot the treasury. Okay, so that's what he said. Now, for my critical take, the big question is why? Why would a PDP chieftain praise a Labour Party frontrunner so openly? I see a few possibilities here. So number one is the optimistic view. Now, Dan Ulasi is an elder statesman who is genuinely tired of the old ways of doing things. He sees in Peter Obi a different kind of politician and is speaking his conscience regardless of party affiliation. He's putting country before party. It's a noble thought, and given his calm and reasoned delivery, it's definitely possible. Secondly, the strategic view. This is a calculated political move. By praising Obi's honesty and character, who is he indirectly shading? Perhaps his own party's leadership or other political rivals. It could be a way of signaling discontent within the PDP or trying to position himself as a principled voice. In politics, nothing is ever just what it seems on the surface. This could be a 4D chase move we are not fully seeing. And thirdly, we can't ignore the regional angle. Both Dan Ulasi and Peter Obi are from the southeast. There might be a layer of regional solidarity here that transcends party politics. A sense of one of our own is on the big stage. And we should acknowledge his good qualities. Ultimately, whatever the motive, his statement does two things. It validates Obi's message to a wider audience and it exposes the deep-seated frustration that even established politicians have with the corrupt system. The idea of a one-term presidency itself is a major debate. Some argues a single longer term, say 6 years, would allow a president to focus on governance without the distraction of campaigning for re-election. But others, like Ulasi, seems to believe the possibility of a second term is the perfect democratic tool to hold a leader accountable. If you do well, we'll reward you with more time. If you fail, you are out. So, what's the bottom line? This was a fascinating moment in Nigerian's political commentary. It was nuanced, sharp, and unexpectedly complimentary. It shows that the lines are blurring and that the old ways of thinking are being challenged, even from within the establishment itself. But I want to know what you guys think. Was Dan Ulasi being 100% sincere, or was there a political strategy behind his words? And what's your take on one-term presidency for Nigeria? Is it the solution we need? Drop your thoughts in the comment below. I read every single one of them. If you enjoy this breakdown, you know what to do. Smash that like button, subscribe to Oba's Trending Gist for more deep dive, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay informed and stay blessed.